Now on Denver 7 News at 6 a.m., a sigh of relief in Boulder County as fire crews make good progress on another fast-moving wildfire.
It's just a huge sigh of relief because you don't know for sure. The degree and the frequency of these events is really frightening.
We're getting updates from firefighters and the schools impacted by evacuations.
Plus, Denver's police union will sound off on a massive settlement over officers' actions during the George Floyd protests.
I'm Denver 7's Veronica Acosta. We're taking a closer look at that decision ahead of a press conference today.
And the slap heard round the world.
Oh, wow!
We're putting this moment into context and the history made on Hollywood's biggest night.
That'll wake you up.
Still shocking every time we see it.
That's
wow.
Right, yeah.
Wow. A night of history-making moments, but all of them overshadowed by that one. We're going to talk about it this morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Nicole Brady.
And I'm Brian Sanders. Yeah, that one's all over the social media feeds this morning if you didn't get to see it live. Lisa, you did watch it live, and it still leaves you speechless.
Now I see why they have delays when it comes to TV, so they can quickly mute all the mics. And yeah, it was wild. And I know those that were watching it, you thought, was that real? We'll talk more about it coming up. Right now, wind speeds anywhere from 5 to about 15 miles per hour. Obviously, fire danger was a huge concern this weekend. It's going to be another one today. I'll show you that here in just a minute. But take a look at your bus stop forecast for those kids that are heading off to school this morning. Mid to upper 40s early on. We'll be under a little mix of sun and clouds. Get outside this afternoon. We're at right around 80 degrees for a high today. Anywhere from 75 to near 80 here along the Front Range. 50s and even 60s out west and up and through the foothills. Evergreen, Bailey, Conifer, mid to upper 60s there. Very pleasant. Now, unfortunately, we do have red flag warnings going into effect. So down across parts of southern and southeastern Colorado, that's where fire danger is going to be extremely high. We also have winter weather advisories coming in behind that for the next storm. We'll take a closer look at this next cold front that's going to start racing through, Jason, tomorrow.
And overall, the drive doesn't look too bad for us. The weather's not playing a big issue for us anywhere around town. You can see that right now up to the north, I-25, Highway 119 looks good. The construction project farther north will slow you down just a little bit. But as you take a look at the drive on 6th Avenue, starting to get a little bit busier. It's a no contact day for Jeffco schools. So even though they're back from spring break, they don't have school here today. I think the teachers do have school today. That westbound, eastbound side looks okay. Just down the road, though, as you can see on the map, we had a fatal crash that happened here at Alameda and Sheridan. I'm just now starting to see some traffic flow through there. Sheridan is moving, and part of Alameda is starting to get back to normal. So you might still see some of the police officers out there investigating. But the rest of the drive looks okay. South side, north side, no problems to or from the airport for the folks that are on spring break from Denver Public Schools, as well as Cesar Chavez Day today.
All right, thank you, Jason. Very quickly, we are following some breaking news this morning. Aurora police are investigating a deadly shooting at a motel. The investigation is at the Radiant Inn on East Colfax, just west of Kingston Street. Police say a man was shot and killed in a room at the motel there. They are working to get details on a suspect. Firefighters in Boulder are making progress on the in-car fire. It started Saturday near the National Center for Atmospheric Research facility, and it forced evacuations for thousands of homes there.
This map shows the fire's perimeter in purple. The city has lifted all evacuation notices. All roads except NCAR Road are also back open. Officials expect that road will stay closed for several days.
Want to bring in Denver 7's Christian Lopez, who is live for us from Boulder this morning. This had a much better outcome, but certainly a scary situation for an area where the memories are still fresh from the Marshall Fire.
Yeah, Brian, and that was something that we kept hearing from evacuees that we spoke to over the weekend. They were telling us that they were reliving some of that trauma from 3 months ago. But the good news is firefighters are making great progress. We can see it out here. We're not really seeing or smelling much of the smoke compared to what we saw over the weekend. This is a big improvement. Right now, the fire is 35% contained. It did burn around 200 acres, and we do know that it forced thousands of people to evacuate. Officials told us, though, that this time around, good planning and preparation did play an important role, and this fire was a lot of people came in to try to protect these nearby homes. Boulder's incident commander told us that hundreds of firefighters from several different agencies have been battling this fire. And even though people were given the green light to return home, some still have a sense of worry.
I'm thrilled, and I am really concerned about, what's happening to our planet and the The degree and the frequency of these events is really frightening and gives us pause.
And I did ask the incident commander if he knew the cause of the fire, but he said it's still all under investigation. We do know that Boulder schools are open normally today, including CU Boulder, which actually had some evacuations over the weekend. And so today firefighters will continue being out there and trying to gain full containment on this fire. We're live in Boulder this morning. I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Thank you, Christian. Yeah, it's scary to see year-round fire season now. This Wednesday will mark 3 months since the Marshall fire. There's a survivor town hall tonight at 6:30 in Superior. The CEO of the Community Foundation Boulder County will have an update on the Wildfire Fund. You can attend in person, but it's limited to 70 people, so you can also participate virtually. Just register at the Community Foundation Boulder County page on Eventbrite. Marshall fire victims will get a clearer picture of what the debris removal process will look like this week. Boulder County plans to host a virtual meeting tomorrow with the hired contractor. They'll discuss details of that process. That's happening at 6 p.m. tomorrow.
A federal jury is awarding a dozen Denver protesters who were hurt in demonstrations over the death of George Floyd back in 2020 $14 million in damages. It also found Denver police officers violated the Constitution. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta joins us live this morning. Veronica, we are getting a response today from an organization representing the officers.
The Denver Police Protection Association is actually expected to give its response after those $14 million were awarded to protesters involved in those demonstrations back in 2020 who were actually injured. So this organization, it represents Denver police officers. This was the outcome of the first excessive force and civil rights trial that came out of the demonstrations over the death of George Floyd. The trial actually lasted 3 weeks, and during that time, the jury heard about accusations of failure in leadership, coordination by officers who responded to the protests as well. They also heard about injuries suffered by protesters at the hands of officers and other nearby departments such as Denver's. Protesters were actually hit by pepper spray and then less lethal ammunition like beanbags. Those did lead to injuries among some of those protesters. We spoke with one of the 12 plaintiffs who was pleased with that outcome.
I wonder if the city of Denver thought we were just going to roll over and take it. I suspect that they might have. I don't know. But we didn't. I'm so pleased and so thankful to the jury. So proud of my co-plaintiffs, so proud of our lawyers. The court, the system got this one right today. So on we press.
And Denver city officials, they also released a statement after that verdict came down on Friday. It said, in part, quote, "We continue to evaluate our policies and training to ensure we're using our best practices identified by law enforcement throughout the country to better protect peaceful protesters while addressing those who are only there to engage in violence. We recognize that there is more work to be done." As for the DPPA, that organization is expected to give its statement at noon today. In Denver, I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
All right, we will be following that one. Thank you, Veronica. Ukrainian and Russian leaders will meet once again today in Turkey to try to end the war. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is now laying out a path for peace. In his first interview with a Russian journalist since the start of the invasion, he said it's only possible, though, if Russia withdraws its troops to territories it occupied prior to the invasion of Ukraine. He added Ukraine would consider taking a neutral position, meaning not trying to join NATO, but only if Russia makes certain security guarantees for his country. The Ukrainian president also said any treaty would need to be approved by guarantor countries.
About 100 people gathered at the Babi Yar Memorial Park in Denver over the weekend for a vigil to honor the Ukrainians killed since the invasion. This park was added to the city in 1982 and memorializes the thousands of Ukrainians, most of them Jewish, killed in World War II in the Babi Yar ravine in Kyiv. That ravine has been a target of Russian missiles recently. District 4 Council member Kendra Black and the group Ukrainians of Colorado helped organize yesterday's event. Well, this year's Oscars probably won't be remembered for who had the most beautiful gown or even the film that won Best Picture.
There were many amazing moments, to be sure, but the ceremony will be talked about for this exchange between Best Actor winner Will Smith and presenter Chris Rock. Have a look.
Uh-oh, Richard! Oh, wow! Wow!
Yeah, we're all saying, wow. I mean, just the sound alone, it kind of looked like it might have been choreographed at first. Obviously, it wasn't.
A lot of people thought it was an act first.
Right.
But, yeah.
Clearly, it wasn't. Moments before that exchange, Chris Rock had made a joke about Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, and her shaved head. She's been outspoken about her struggle with alopecia, which leads to hair loss. Smith, you could see, was later shouting at Rock on stage to, quote, keep my wife's name out of your expletive mouth. Later, when Smith won the Oscar for his performance as the father of tennis greats Venus and Serena Williams and King Richard, he addressed the confrontation without mentioning Rock directly.
I want to apologize to the Academy. I want to apologize to all my fellow nominees. This is a beautiful moment.
Oh, he's so emotional in that speech. The Academy issued a statement saying it does not condone violence of any form. The LAPD also tweeted it's aware of the incident, but no charges have been filed because the individual, meaning Chris Rock, declined to file a police report. So the ceremony ended on a high note. Apple TV's Coda took home Best Picture. It's the first movie from a streaming service ever to take the top prize. And one of the film's stars, Troy Kotsur, made history with his win for Best Supporting Actor. He's the first man who is deaf to ever win an Oscar.
Yeah. If you like the music at last night's ceremony, there was a Denver-based composer who was part of the crew that was directing it. Derek Hodge has created music for some of the most known artists and shows over the past few years, mostly from his home studio. Our Micah Smith actually sat down with him before last night's show, and you can see that full interview on the denverchannel.com and on our Denver 7 Plus app. The big question remains if Will Smith gets to keep his award after that.
I've been looking online about that. It doesn't seem that the Academy has a process to remove it from him. So we don't think he's going to lose the award, but it was still just shocking.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't woken up to something like that since they said the wrong Best Picture, right?
Well, my husband was playing hockey and I recorded it for him. And then when I saw it, I immediately texted him. I said, don't pick up your phone or look at any social. Wait till you get home to watch this because it's crazy to watch it live.
Watch it live. Yeah, I went to sleep after the Bruno performance.
So we went to bed early.
But it was all over social media this morning, so it was wild.
Oh, we've got a pretty nice start to our week. Wow, it was beautiful this weekend. We'll get an extension of that today. Early this morning, mid to upper 40s. Your dog walking forecast is another nice one. Near 80. It's going to be dry and warm today, Jason. Cloudy, cool, and rain showers tomorrow. Details on our next storm coming up on the Super 7 Day.
And overall, the drive looks pretty decent here across most of Metro Denver. I am not seeing any big significant problems. You can see that down here at C470 by Quebec. The quiet drive in Highlands Ranch is good for us for right now.
Another Denver venue is changing its COVID protocols, what you need to know before you go to a performance at the Denver Center for Performing Arts. Also, Colorado's economy is going through a major rebound as we enter a new phase of the pandemic.
The season hasn't even started, but Russell Wilson is already connecting with his Broncos teammates. How the GM is responding to this offseason bonding.